Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's Take Charge of Your Life, where we talk about how to live healthy, live empowered, and live free. My name is Tish Taylor. I'm from Growth Centric Living. I am a mindset trainer and a personal development guide. This is my co-host, Roberta.
Hey everyone, I am a holistic health practitioner and also a personal trainer, as Tish stated, and really my focus is on mind, body, and soul transformation, which is what our talks are about, and just really helping people transform in every area of life so that we are one whole, complete, empowered person at the end of that process. So welcome.
Both Roberta and I are elite mentorship trainers, which means that we have both studied and trained under our mentor, Mr. Peter Sage. For those of you that aren't aware of who he is, he's a renowned human behavior expert. He has taught and spoke in 63 different countries on self-mastery, including done 6 TED Talks and shared some stages with the likes of other gurus like Richard Branson and Nelson Mandela. So our format for our talks are to show a video of his, and then we're going to discuss it in our 3 main realms, which is giving you guys tips and clarity on how to live healthy, our form of body, live empowered when we talk about mindset, and ultimately live free in your soul wellness.
Yes, and our video today is called the 6 seconds in. It's a technology or methodology, if you will, of breathing that Peter is really honing in on. And actually, I think he's writing a book on it. I don't know if it's published yet, but it's such a simple but powerful, powerful hack to really give people value and help that need to unlock calm and really overcome, stress in your life. So it's a beautiful offering that he's giving us. So let me share that here.
With all of the anxiety, depression, and mental health issues people are suffering today, what is one skill, one hack that could immediately help reduce blood pressure, lower anxiety, actually increase the immune system? Well, it's a breathing technique that anybody can do. By breathing in through the nose for 6 seconds and then out for 6 seconds and keeping to that time for 2 minutes, in for 6, out for 6, run that 12 times, you will immediately take over your parasympathetic nervous system and allow yourself to calm your brain waves into an alpha state. It's an amazing hack that most people don't have time to even look at, because breathing is the only thing that you can take conscious control over or hand over to the automatic systems of the body. And when you take the reins of that horse and you calm that horse down and then hand it back, you just feel better.
Okay, so that was a pretty straightforward video. We're going to jump right into our live empowered, which is mindset. So for me, I found that this being so empowering to know that I can take charge of my feelings, of my anxiety, of stress that might be flooding my body. What a huge mindset shift this was to know that I am not a slave to my body. I have a choice. It's also empowering to know that it doesn't require any kind of complicated knowledge or large amounts of time for any skill really at all. We're talking about breathing. It can't get any simpler to ultimately empower yourself and take charge of your state. So I have actually really started to use this. And for example, in how I have used this in my life is, driving, taking long trips. I have little kids and have had some little kids and I've been all different ages. We're driving in the car, you're stuck in the car. Everyone's, starting to get a little anxious and are we there yet? And he's touching me and you can feel, the anxiety start to ample up. Well, what a great opportunity this is, having this mindset for me to not only role model this behavior, but also practice it in real life when I can apply it, like I said, while I'm driving, regardless of what I'm doing. We're only talking about 2 minutes to be able to manage my reaction and not feel this stress for the entire rest of the drive. Heaven forbid it's not around the corner that we're going. So in role modeling, the steps I would take is to be awareness, right? Hey, I am not feeling very well, so can everybody, be quiet for 1 second, just pausing and taking my own deep breaths in and out, and then addressing, we're not there yet. Here's how you can, tell whether we're here, or whatever other solution that you need in that moment. But instead of reacting out of frustration, I feel completely empowered to the fact that I can choose my state in this moment quite simply by breathing.
For me too, it's been just huge. Just that, when I found this, because I've, lived with a post-traumatic stress effect in the body for so many years. It was like such a simple and, doable, like you said, relief to be able to stop that biochemical flood from taking over the system. Because sometimes that would take me like 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get that level of cortisol out of my system. It was just ridiculous. I remember just feeling just totally overcome by it. And that affects us mentally in every way. It was like I was tired, I was overwhelmed, I couldn't think straight. So it really took me out of the game in a lot of, areas of life where I needed a clear, thinking and the ability to use my mind in a functional and an empowering way. So just doing something that's like Peter has created here, or that he's uncovered and brought forth, is just, it's a huge shift in our empowering mindset, as far as how we can manage ourselves and bring our best self to the table in all these different areas. It's fascinating.
I want to note in this section as well that Peter's like 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, 12 times is only one of many examples of how we can learn to really empower ourselves and take charge of our body. So that really leads us to the tip in, choosing an empowering mindset. Know that you are not a slave to your body. Know that there are simple, non-time consuming ways to take charge and to choose your your state. And so we encourage you to help with this, to do some of your own research, choose this mindset, find other examples, including we have a resource for ourselves and another simple tip in controlling your state, which is our discussion number 9 on emotions, called smiling in the face of diversity. Another very simple tip just to take charge of your state and where you're at.
Yes, thanks, Tish. And that brings us into the live healthy in the body section that we talk about. And like you mentioned, depression, anxiety, the mental health issues that are hindering our success, they're rampant in our culture today. But with this tool, we can take on that challenge and remain relaxed and focused. What a great way to intercept, right, or interrupt a pattern and not carry out our dysregulated behavior, because that leaves some fallout really for the people around us for sure, and maybe the people at work or a boss or whatever. So some of the physical impact that this has is that it immediately helps reduce blood pressure. It lowers anxiety. It empowers the immune system because when it's flooded with that biochemical impact, it actually is like a fear response, and that lowers your immune system by 30% immediately as soon as that fear or that biochemical impact hits the body. So it's a big deal. And really, like Peter said, breathing is the only thing that we have conscious control over. We can't control the outer world, but we can control how we respond to it. And so I just wanted to go into the science behind that just for a minute, just so that we can get a little bit, it'll make a little more sense and maybe land a little deeper for us so that we want to take it on. So the first area is called nervous system regulation. So like he talked about the parasympathetic nervous system, that's our rest and digest tone of our body. And we want that to be able to take over and help us to rest and calm down when the situation requires it. That's the brakes of the body. We're trying to put on the brakes so that we don't get pulled into some chaotic event or some situation that's going to throw us off and really cause us a lot of discomfort and suffering also. So the slow, deep inhale will stimulate the vagus nerve via the diaphragmatic movement. So that vagus nerve is where we check the tone of our body and seeing whether it's revved or stressed or not. And so it regulates that through the breathing. This reduces cortisol, which is a stress hormone as we know it, and it helps bring the body out of the fight or flight and into rest and restore. So just that simple ability to stop. And really what we're doing is we're telling the body it's okay. There's no crisis. When we breathe like that, we're just training it physiologically not to respond like there is no tiger chasing us, even though our mind may feel that way because something has triggered us and set us off. The body can just be reminded. The body will do whatever we tell it, and the brain will believe everything we tell it to. So we can just, put in this application and really kind of trick and hack the body from going into a different place. So the carbon monoxide or dioxide and the oxygen balance. So when we breathe in for 6 seconds, it ensures that the breathing is taking over. We're not letting the cortisol and those other chemistry take over. What we're telling the body is kind of taking the oxygen is taking front and center, and it's going to, like I said, overrule those other reactions in the body. And it preserves the CO2 levels in the blood, which are necessary for proper oxygen release into cells. It also increases cellular oxygenation, which helps us think clearer, right? If we have a foggy brain, we're not getting enough oxygen to our brain, we start to dysregulate and close down or get just, where we can't focus. And then there's the heart rate variability and coherence factor of it. So when we breathe with rhythms around 5 or 6 breaths per minute, we synchronize our heart and the brain waves together. So when we call that coherence, which we've talked about and probably in some other videos. So we're just trying to bring the heart and the brain into alignment and not, so we're kind of overriding some of those physiological responses, and we're giving that front and center and giving that power to take over in our system, and not let the left brain just talk us into some fear-based outcome or response or reaction, but we're actually hacking it and saying we're going to calm the system down, and we're going to get this heart, which is our intuition and our non-physical connection really to our greater source and greater power. And we're bringing that together with our brain so that it can come together and relax and just kind of maintain control of the body. So it is an amazing way to just, to keep the body from just getting out of control. And it's been trained to do that. So we would literally have to train it back into calm over time. But it's well worth it. And at 2 minutes at a time, like Tish said, it's just a no-brainer as far as shifting our system and bringing us into that place of calm and not having and actually if we stay in stress over time, we have tons of physical health issues and mental health issues. So, hacking it and bringing it into calm whenever we can and really making this a practice will pay off in dividends for, years to come for all of us.
So we have certainly had quite a few videos on just the negative health impacts of being in a stress mode. So this almost seems too simple, again, to just be able to breathe our way through it. So I really appreciate you sharing the science with us in your area of expertise and helping my right brain to realize that this tiny, simple thing as like breathing, something that we take for granted, can be so significant in its impact that it not only has on us mentally, but also physically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're definitely connected in every way. So the tip for this is to use this scientific superpower to embrace your calm, right? What I would do is what I do with a lot of my practices that I do is I just put it in my phone alarm. So even if you think about maybe the most stressful time of your day or the time where kind of everything goes downhill, to set that as a time to stop and take a 2-minute break. And really the technique is where you breathe 6 seconds in through the nose and 6 seconds out through the nose. And you don't stop at the top or the bottom of the breath. You just make it a loop. So it's, you can count it out in your head, or if you have, you can even go onto YouTube and they have timers for different amounts of time, and it'll just walk you through something with music. So it can literally count it for you. And so, yeah, you'll become almost immune to stressful feelings coming up if you can intercept it before things get out of control.
Awesome. So that concludes our physical piece and leads us really well into our live free or our soul connection. Roberta mentioned the heart and mind coherence that you get into by taking this, practicing this breathing exercise. I really think of this as the doorway between conscious choice and higher aligned states. And for me, I have started to really live this and this connection between my physical and non-physical being my breath. again, so simple in stopping for a minute in the hustle and bustle with all of the physical data and the sense triggers and emotional reactivity and states of everything that's going on, and just taking a minute to bring it back and focus in on the internal side of things, looking and bringing our awareness inward by focusing on our breath and just slowing down for a second, so that we can reconnect with our true soulful selves in where we want to go and what we would like to choose as our actions next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess one thing I didn't mention too is that it affects the alpha, the brainwave state, right? And so when we stop and get present, like you're talking about in the soul one, and just really connecting with the non-physical, we lower our brainwave state. And like we talked about in earlier discussions, we want to get to the alpha brainwave state, which is, it's a calm state. It's not the outer world focus, but it's more inner world focus. And so it'll actually prevent us from taking on stress once we're in that alpha state of mind, just like I said, makes everything just much more easier and balanced, and we're not hooked in to all that's going on outside of us. So that is another option to our area to think about, the brainwave state. Lowering it is just like a automatic hack for us to get into a better place.
Well, alpha state is where our aim is for many of our meditations and suggestions that we've made as well, right? That's where our creative power is. That's where we get connected with the energy and the forces of the universe, or your God, whichever you choose to so name it. And again, being present in our entire power of, breathing and being in synchronicity with our lives and our energy forces. So our tip then for the soul part here is, while you're practicing this 6-second breathing technique once a week, as Roberta suggested in the body tip, I want you to place your attention on the space between breaths, noticing the stillness. This simple practice creates a gap between stimulus and response. It allows you to pause for a second in the real world, and gives you the power to then choose, like we've been talking about. Entirely free life allows you to choose rather than react from habit. What do I want to do next? Let me clear all of the rush of stress and pick my next actions, pick my state, pick where I go from here in living a truly free life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so simple, but yet so powerful. And yeah, I hope that it witnesses with people that are listening, because it's something that you can do. It doesn't cost anything, like Tish said, and it's available at any time, and it's just a very simple concept. And so in the summary of this, the mind tip was, to choose an empowered response to stress and anxiety, and then, seek out other ways to listen and understand how we can do that. Like our discussion number 9 from our Take Charge of Your Life discussions. Just another, like you said, there's many tools, but just some simple ways of being able to take on adversity, like smiling in the face of adversity, which is an example of being empowered, right? Empowering our mind. The body tip is put it in this practice into your phone, or the schedule of it into your phone, so that an alarm goes off. Do it daily for a week, and then make it a habit. And then the soul tip is to notice the stillness between the breaths. You choose heart-centered responses to life's challenges. And so, yeah, it's like we said earlier, it's a pattern interrupt and an energetic reset. So when we think about that, it really is a superpower. We don't have to do a lot to see the benefit of this. So yeah, we welcome you to embrace this and give it a go.
Simple and easy, learning how to live the dream by choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we have a quote here. It says, "In a single conscious breath, you reclaim your power from your past, your peace from the future, and you arrive fully in the now," by Peter Sage.
That is perfect. I love that quote. It totally encompasses everything we've talked about so far today.
Yeah.
Good. I think that brings us to the conclusion of this discussion. This is number 18. So feel free, if you're enjoying this, to share it with anybody you feel like could also benefit from this knowledge. Check out our other videos. We'll welcome any kind of feedback or anything else that you'd like to discuss in the future.
Yes. Yeah, we welcome you to book a call with us for any transformation consultation, just to inquire and to see where we can benefit you on your path to transformation and wellness. Yeah, we'd love to connect with you and share the journey we have, created for ourselves through these processes, and to have this much better version of our life. I mean, life is challenging, but we can choose to have a better outcome and, to make it, if we're going to go through challenges anyway, we might as well make them produce fruit, right? And leave a legacy for the people like our family and those that are watching and looking on. So we'd love to hear from you, and yeah, we're thankful that you're here, and thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you on our next discussion.
Keep living empowered, living free, and living healthy.